The State Hermitage Museum in St. Petersburg, Russia. The State Hermitage Museum is a museum of art and culture in St. Petersburg, Russia. The second largest art museum in the world, it was founded in 1764 when Empress Catherine the Great acquired an impressive collection of paintings from the Berlin merchant Johann Ernst Gotskowski. The museum celebrates the anniversary of its founding each year on December 7, St. Catherine's Day. It has been open to the public since 1852. Its collections, of which only a small part is on permanent display, comprise over 3 million items, including the largest collection of paintings in the world. The collections occupy a large complex of 6 historic buildings along Palace Embankment, including the Winter Palace, a former residence of Russian emperors. Apart from them, the Menshikov Palace, Museum of Porcelain, storage facility at Staraya Derevnya, and the eastern wing of the General Staff Building are also part of the museum. The museum has several exhibition centers abroad. The Hermitage is a federal state property. Since July 1992, the director of the museum has been Mikhail Piotrovsky. Of the 6 buildings in the main museum complex, 5, namely the Winter Palace, Small Hermitage, Old Hermitage, New Hermitage, and Hermitage Theatre, are open to the public. The entrance ticket for foreign tourists costs more than the fee paid by citizens of Russia and Belarus. However, entrance is free of charge the third Thursday of every month for all visitors, and free daily for students and children. The museum is closed on Mondays. The entrance for individual visitors is located in the Winter Palace, accessible from the courtyard. Originally, the only building housing the collection was the Small Hermitage. Today, the Hermitage Museum encompasses many buildings on the Palace Embankment and its neighborhoods. Apart from the Small Hermitage, the museum now also includes the Old Hermitage, the New Hermitage, the Hermitage Theatre, and the Winter Palace, the former main residence of the Russian Tsars. In recent years, the Hermitage has expanded to the General Staff Building on the Palace Square facing the Winter Palace, and the Menshikov Palace. Collections. The Western European art collection includes European paintings, sculpture, and applied art from the 13th to the 20th centuries. It is displayed, in about 120 rooms, on the first and second floor of the 4 main buildings. Drawings and prints are displayed in temporary exhibitions. Egyptian Antiquities. Since 1940, the Egyptian collection, dating back to 1852 and including the former Castiglione collection, has occupied a large hall on the ground floor in the eastern part of the Winter Palace. It serves as a passage to the exhibition of classical antiquities. A modest collection of the culture of ancient Mesopotamia, including a number of Assyrian reliefs from Babylon, Dur-Sharrukin, and Nimrud, is located in the same part of the building. Classical Antiquities. The collection of classical antiquities occupies most of the ground floor of the Old and New Hermitage buildings. The interiors of the ground floor were designed by German architect Leo von Klenz in the Greek Revival style in the early 1850s, using painted polished stucco and columns of natural marble and granite. One of the largest and most notable interiors of the first floor is the Hall of 20 columns, divided into 3 parts by 2 rows of grey monolithic columns of Serdobal granite, intended for the display of Greco-Etruscan vases. Its floor is made of a modern marble mosaic imitating ancient tradition, while the stucco walls and ceiling are covered in painting. The Room of the Great Vase in the western wing features the 2.57-meter-high Caucasian vase, weighing 19 ton, made of jasper in 1843 and installed before the walls were erected. While the western wing was designed for exhibitions, the rooms on the ground floor in the eastern wing of the New Hermitage, now also hosting exhibitions, were originally intended for libraries. The floor of the Athena Room in the southeastern corner of the building, one of the original libraries, is decorated with an authentic 4th century mosaic excavated in an early Christian basilica in Cherson-Sos in 1854. The collection of classical antiquities features Greek artifacts from the 3rd millennium to 5th century BC, ancient Greek pottery, items from the Greek cities of the North Pontic Greek colonies, Hellenistic sculpture, and jewelry, including engraved gems and cameos, such as the famous Gonzaga cameo, Italic art from the 9th to 2nd century BC, Roman marble and bronze sculpture and applied art from the 1st century BC, 4th century AD, including copies of classical and Hellenistic Greek sculptures. One of the highlights of the collection is the Tauride Venus, which, according to latest research, is an original Hellenistic Greek sculpture rather than a Roman copy as it was thought before. There are, however, only a few pieces of authentic classical Greek sculpture and sepulchral monuments. Prehistoric art. On the ground floor in the western wing of the Winter Palace, the collections of prehistoric artifacts and the culture and art of the Caucasus are located, as well as the second treasure gallery. The prehistoric artifacts date from the Paleolithic to the Iron Age and were excavated all over Russia and other parts of the former Soviet Union and Russian Empire. Among them is a renowned collection of the art and culture of nomadic tribes of the Altai from Pazyryk and Bashadar sites, including the world's oldest surviving knotted pile carpet and a well-preserved wooden chariot, both from the 4th–3rd RD centuries BC. The Caucasian Exhibition includes a collection of Urartu artifacts from Armenia and Western Armenia. Many of them were excavated at Taishebani under the supervision of Boris Piotrovsky, former director of the Hermitage Museum. Jewelry and decorative art. 4 small rooms on the ground floor, enclosed in the middle of the new Hermitage between the room displaying classical antiquities, comprise the first treasure gallery, featuring Western jewelry from the 4th millennium BC to the early 20th century AD. The second treasure gallery, located on the ground floor in the southwest corner of the Winter Palace, features jewelry from the Pontic Steppes, Caucasus, and Asia, in particular Scythian and Sarmatian gold. Visitors may only visit the treasure galleries as part of a guided tour. Pavilion Hall, designed by Andrei Stackenschneider in 1858, occupies the first floor of the northern pavilion in the small Hermitage. It features the 18th century golden peacock clock by James Cox and a collection of mosaics. The floor of the hall is adorned with a 19th century imitation of an ancient Roman mosaic. 2 galleries spanning the west side of the small Hermitage from the northern to southern pavilion house an exhibition of Western European decorative and applied art from the 12th to 15th century and the fine art of the Low Countries from the 15th and 16th centuries. Italian Renaissance. The rooms on the first floor of the old Hermitage were designed by Andrei Stackenschneider in revival styles in between 1851 and 1860. Although the design survives only in some of them. They feature works of Italian Renaissance artists, including Giorgione, Titian, Veronese, as well as Benoit's Madonna and Madonna Litta attributed to Leonardo da Vinci or his school. The Italian Renaissance galleries continues in the eastern wing of the new Hermitage with paintings, sculpture, majolica, and tapestry from Italy of the 15th–16th centuries, including Constable Madonna and Madonna with beardless Saint Joseph by Raphael. The gallery known as the Raphael Loggias, designed by Giacomo Quarenghi and painted by Christopher Unterberger in his workshop in the 1780s as a replication of the loggia in the Apostolic Palace in Rome frescoed by Raphael, runs along the eastern facade. Italian and Spanish fine art. The first floor of New Hermitage contains 3 large interior spaces in the center of the museum complex with red walls and lit from above by skylights. These are adorned with 19th-century Russian lapidary works and feature Italian and Spanish canvases of the 16th to 18th centuries, including Veronese, Giambattista Pittoni, Tintoretto, Velázquez, and Murillo. In the enfilade of smaller rooms alongside the skylight rooms, the Italian and Spanish fine art of the 15th to 17th centuries, including Michelangelo's Crouching Boy and paintings by El Greco. The museum also houses paintings by Luis Tristan, Francisco de Zurbarán, Alonso Cano, José de Ribera and Goya. Knights Hall. The Knights Hall, a large room in the eastern part of the new Hermitage originally designed in the Greek Revival style for the display of coins, now hosts a collection of Western European arms and armor from the 15th to 17th centuries, part of the Hermitage Arsenal collection. The Hall of 12 Columns, in the southeast corner of the new Hermitage, is adorned with columns of grey Serdobal granite and was also designed in the Greek Revival style for the display of coins, is now used for temporary exhibitions. The Gallery of the History of Ancient Painting adjoins the Knights Hall and also flanks the skylight rooms. It was designed by Leo von Klenz in the Greek Revival style as a prelude to the museum and features neoclassical marble sculptures by Antonio Canova and his followers. In the middle, the gallery opens to the main staircase of the new Hermitage, which served as the entrance to the museum before the October Revolution of 1917, but is now closed. The upper gallery of the staircase is adorned with 20 grey Serdobal granite columns and feature 19th-century European sculpture and Russian lapidary works. Dutch Golden Age and Flemish Baroque. The rooms and galleries along the southern facade and in the western wing of the new Hermitage are now entirely devoted to Dutch Golden Age and Flemish Baroque painting of the 17th century, including the large collections of Van Dyck, Rubens, and Rembrandt. German, Swiss, British, and French fine art. The first-floor rooms on the southern facade of the Winter Palace are occupied by the collections of German fine art of the 16th century and French fine art of the 15th–18th centuries, including paintings by Poussin, Lorraine, Watteau. The collections of French decorative and applied art from the 17th–18th centuries and British applied and fine art from the 16th–19th century, including Thomas Gainsborough and Joshua Reynolds, are on display in nearby rooms facing the courtyard. Russian art. The richly decorated interiors of the first floor of the Winter Palace on its eastern, northern and western sides are part of the Russian Culture Collection and host the exhibitions of Russian art from the 11th to 19th centuries. Temporary exhibitions are usually held in the Nicholas Hall. French neoclassical, Impressionist, and post-Impressionist art. The only portion of the second floor open to the public is in the Winter Palace. French neoclassical, Impressionist and post-Impressionist art, including works by Renoir, Monet, Van Gogh, and Gauguin, is displayed there in the southeastern corner. Modern, German Romantic, and other 19–20th century art. Modern art is displayed in the General Staff Building, St. Petersburg. It features Matisse, Deratte, and other Fauvists, Picasso, Malevich, Petrocelli, Kandinsky, Giacomo Manzu, Giorgio Morandi and Rockwell Kent. A large room is devoted to the German Romantic art of the 19th century, including several paintings by Caspar David Friedrich. The second floor of the western wing features collections of the Oriental art, from China, India, Mongolia, Tibet, Central Asia, Byzantium, and Near East. Like us and join us at Extreme Collections for more fun and knowledge.